Happy Thursday morning. We are back with another book review. It is the fourth entry in the Sackett series, Jubal Sackett by Louis L'Amour. This was published in 1985. Obviously, this doesn't fit publication order, and it's kind of weird, but it fits chronological order as we make our way through the centuries talking about the Sackett family. This is an interesting story, and let's dive right in. So the summary of this story, obviously it takes place in the 1620s, 1630s. Jubal Sackett, a guy that wants to be out in the wilderness, doesn't want to be kind of constricted, wants to roam and see, a lot like his father Barnabas, who has a lot of mentions in the story. But in the 1620s and 30s, he comes upon a priest for the Natchez or Natchez tribe who has a lot of influence in the Mississippi area, which we'll get into. But the priest dones him with a mission. He has to go find their daughter of the sun, Ichikomi, and her seeking party. And so I'm like, oh, great. We got another story where one of the Sackett boys needs to go find a girl. Felt like I just read that. Oh, wait, I did. But hear me out. It does have a lot more to offer. Obviously, this is one of the biggest entries in the Sackett series to date. This is 325 pages. And so there's a lot here. Along the way, he encounters many different tribes: Cherokee, Pawnee, Utes, Shawnee, Comanche. It's endless. He faces many foes, he has to fight major bosses, and he has different friends that help him out and different relationships. But really, is this a find and return story? Or is it a story of westward expansion? Of frontierism? Is it a love story? Is it a survival story? Or maybe it's just all of the above. So let's talk about what I liked. Obviously, this explores a lot of geography. I was actually a little shocked by the geography here. And I got to give L'Amour credit. He steps up his world building, his scenery, the descriptions are great. Obviously, with 325 pages under this book, he's able to do so, but I appreciated that. But we explore the Appalachian Mountains, the Tennessee area. We go through the Mississippi River. We go touchdown in the plains in the state of Mississippi. We go through the Southwest, the plains. We go through Rocky Mountains. We're in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We're in Colorado. We're in Nebraska, Oklahoma. It seems like he covers a lot of territory. And so I really enjoyed that. One of my subscribers, Caleb Welch, who happens to be an archaeologist, was interested and commented that he was interested in my review of this and the story and book itself because it talks about Natchez, which is an area related in Mississippi, especially the southwestern region of Mississippi, but it also references the Natchez being descriptions of the Indian tribe from that area. I also thought it was interesting in terms of what Caleb's background is, because there is nods in here and little bits around and discussion around mastodons and bones, and Jubal talks about his brother Yance and once came upon tusks and bones that were in the ground, and I thought it was really interesting, and so I figured Caleb would like that as well. There's a lot of different nods here. There's a ton of discussion around Barnabas Sackett and the cache. He's still, through the different areas they go and explore and the different tribes they meet, Barnabas Sackett is a name that's known, and it carries a lot of weight. And so that obviously aids Jubal in some respects, but at the same time, it does kind of hinder him. There's also several nods to Noelle and Brian, especially when Jubal finds Ichikomi and having dialogue with her, and she wants to know who he is and where he's from, what he's about. I thought that was interesting as well. I know for a fact Noelle is not going to be any major character throughout this Sackett read, but it's nice to see that Louis continues to kind of keep readers abreast a little bit of the fact that there is other siblings across the pond. I really liked some of the conflict around Jubal, there's a mechanical injury, there's creatures he has to face, there's bosses he's got to beat, there's all of these tribes. He's always kind of thinking ahead, like, are we going to have enough food to make it through? And the story takes place across several seasons. And so it's not just a month-long skirmish. I mean, we cover so much geography in the story that it takes years. And so I really like that. I really liked some of the duels with Kapata and how he's chasing after, and there's so many people that want Ichikomi, and that creates a lot of conflict. I really liked Kyokita. He meets him very early in the story. He is a Kickapoo Indian, and he is kind of ride or die when it comes to Jubal. Like, he just latches on to him, especially when he realizes Barnabas was his father. And they develop a great friendship and a lot of trust and level of trust amongst each other. And at several parts when Kyokita is out trying to, sneak behind or trying to clear the ranks and numbers of the forces they're up against, he's kind of a silent warrior, and Jubal doesn't really worry about him. I found that really interesting. As far as my favorite character in the story, I have to go with Paisano, the buffalo calf that Jubal raises and ends up riding, that weighs 2,000 pounds. And yeah, he plays a very prominent role in the story, and I'm not going to spoil it, but he is my favorite character. I liked him. I mean, obviously I like Jubal, but yeah, Team Paisano, I guess. Again, there's a lot of great characters. I really enjoyed them. I thought Diego was a great character. He is one of the Spanish kind of rebels who gets overthrown by Gomez, who is a major boss that ends up being in conflict with Jubal. I liked him because he wanted to establish a future in trading and everything. So I really liked him, and he friends Jubal. In terms of dislikes, I thought the conflict with Gomez was a little rushed. We had a lot of build-up. Kind of a siege and stand, and then we're going to fight another day, and then we're going to duel, and then it was over. I thought the conflict with Capita was much more intriguing. It was quicker in the sense that there wasn't all of the build-up, and we just got down to it, let's fight, and it was very descriptive, and I enjoyed it. In terms of the pacing, most L'Amour books, you have a pretty steady pace or a gradual uptick, and then he ends it, and this one was more up and down. Like, I would find myself reading 15, 20 pages, and the next thing I'm starting to be kind of about it, and the next thing something happens and it grabs my attention again. So I was just kind of, I don't know, it felt like I was hot and cold a lot on this book. But in terms of rating, where I rate this book, I give it a 4.1. I think it's a good story. I definitely like the fact that it's a bigger one, and we get a lot more depth to the story. We cover a lot of geography. We cover a lot of different Indian tribes and a lot of conflict in the story. And so I appreciated it for that. I definitely enjoyed it. And so that is my review. Jubal Sackett, book number 4 in the Sackett series. I give it 4.1. I hope you're having a great Thursday, and I will talk to you later.